Rick and Marty Lagina just got super rich on their latest Oak Island episode. They found some amazing stuff near the famous money pit. I know this is really quite inspiring. Yeah, it really is quite a trip back in time. It's pretty amazing. Each thing they found, shown off by Scott Barlow and cheered by Alex Lagina, leaves us with more questions than answers. Their search gets scary when tunnels start collapsing, pointing to dangerous things hidden below. What else could be down there waiting in this newfound treasure? Who has been enamored of this thing since he was 10? And here we are doing it together as brothers. Explore with us to find out what remains buried deep. Another week, another clue. This time, the narrative introduces another additional week of exploration, a phrase that regular viewers might find overly familiar. It suggests that something big is just around the corner. Yet, as always, that breakthrough seems to stay just out of reach. Scott Barlow's contemplation over the lack of structural findings in a newly explored underground area adds to the skepticism, making one wonder if there's anything significant down there after all. Despite the initial excitement, the story soon hits a literal roadblock. The part of the tunnel they were exploring collapses. This setback is paradoxically both disappointing and intriguing, as it raises more questions and ensures that viewers will return hoping for more clues. Marty Lagina's insistence on examining every nail and bore might come across as thorough to some or desperate to others. The team's approach, continuing to excavate to uncover more tunnel sections and using carbon dating to determine their age, seems scientifically sound. Yet, it feels more like a tactic to stretch out the show than to actually conclude it. Doug and Alex are excited about the significance of their latest find. Doug and Alex date the boot to 1908 to 1909, sort of changing its importance. To me, now we want to proceed because it ties with Doug's awakening to that possibility that we're digging in the shaft. This sentiment is echoed by Rick Lagina's serious talk about the importance of gathering all possible data. However, these repeated affirmations begin to feel empty when you consider how little they've actually managed to reveal about the island's past. The introduction of Dr. Doug Simmons, who brings up connections between the Knights Templar and Vikings on Oak Island, adds a layer of historical allure. His theory that these two groups might have worked together centuries ago on the island is fascinating and adds an almost movie-like quality to the show, although it's based more on speculation than solid evidence. The discovery of a piece of ancient ship railing and a copper coin could be historically significant. These items, possibly linked to the 8th century and somewhere between the late 1400s and mid-1700s, effectively add intrigue to the tale. However, they seem to be used more for their ability to create a good story for TV rather than their archaeological value. As the seasons go by, the hunt for treasure seems to turn more into a drawn-out tease. Examining old nails and timbers believed to be from the 1600s is certainly an exciting endeavor for any archaeologist. However, the way the show presents these findings often leaves one wondering whether the goal is to uncover historical truths or just to keep a successful TV show running. Each piece of potential evidence, be it related to the Templars, Vikings, or ancient underground constructions, is carefully picked to maintain the narrative tightness and ensure that the audience keeps coming back, always hoping that the next episode will finally reveal all. In the complex web of Oak Island, each discovery, no matter how small, is portrayed as a crucial clue possibly leading to a major find. The constant hints at connections to ancient civilizations and significant historical events keep the tale compelling, even if actual progress is slow. This method keeps the story going and the viewers guessing episode after episode, as the team digs up just enough to fuel speculation and maintain interest, but never enough to conclude the tale. Let's dive into new mysteries and theories about Oak Island's past. Viking legacies in Newfoundland take center stage as Dr. Doug Simmons puts forward a rather bold idea that may raise some eyebrows. He claims that the Vikings, known for their raids and explorations, were not just wandering around North America but actually setting up settlements around the year 1000 AD. He bases this on the findings at L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland, suggesting it as a critical piece of evidence that these northern warriors had long-term land in the region. Simmons weaves a curious narrative that connects these Vikings with the Knights Templar, a group known from the Crusades who were deeply interested in holy relics. These Templars reportedly started their order in Jerusalem in the early 12th century. According to Simmons, it's possible that the Templars and the Vikings might have collaborated. He even suggests that King Sigurd of Norway, around 1177, might have played a role in moving treasures to Oak Island with Viking assistance. Though this idea relies more on an intriguing notion than solid proof, it captivates the imagination. To back up his claims, Dr. Simmons points to various findings on Oak Island, such as Nolan's Cross, various large stone structures, and a well on Lot 26, which are all dated to the 13th century. The recent unearthing of two artifacts that traced back to Scandinavia is used to bolster his theory, implying that these items might have been brought over by Vikings. As the excavation team digs further, they find what they believe to be additional indicators of a Viking presence during medieval times. They discovered a piece of a ship's railing dated to the 8th century, and earlier findings of shipwood dated between the 15th and 18th centuries are highlighted as evidence of Norse visits to Oak Island around the year 1000 AD. Each discovery is treated with great excitement, suggesting a major breakthrough, although some might view these conclusions as a bit too convenient or speculative. The team's focus also turns to a rectangular foundation found on Lot 5. Since the purchase by Rick, Marty, and Craig, excavations there have turned up pottery and pipe stems that date to the 18th century. However, a copper coin found in a deeper layer showing a green patina suggests an origin even earlier, which might imply a different timeline for the site on the island. While this coin is fascinating, it opens up more questions than it answers regarding who built the foundation and why. On another part of the island, Lagina and Helen Sheldon, two of the archaeologists, are examining the so-called money pit. They find a wall on Lot 5 that may give clues about its original use. They meet with Carmen Legg, a blacksmithing expert and archaeologist, to examine two metal objects found in a tunnel beneath the garden shaft. These objects could date as far back as the late 1400s or mid-1700s, adding to the intrigue of the site's complicated past. A carbon dating analysis provided to the team suggests that the tunnel beneath the garden shaft could have been created 150 years before the money pit was discovered, introducing a new layer of complexity to the site's story. Meanwhile, as they continue their excavation near the southern boundary of the marsh, they uncover a wooden building. This raises the possibility that this structure might have been part of a larger plan to hide something valuable a long time ago. "I think we found an avenue of continued search or research," one of the team members remarked. They began connecting the dots between Portugal and Oak Island. The team also investigates the relationship between an ancient stone road and a wooden structure they found on the island. Dr. Ian Spooner thinks that this feature could be a 500-year-old platform used for loading and unloading goods connected to the nearby stone road, suggesting a long history of activity at the site. The story thickens with each unearthed artifact, hinting at ancient secrets. The tales of Oak Island are filled with intrigue and suspense, with each discovery woven into a larger narrative of hidden treasures and alleged ancient collaborations. While the excitement of treasure hunting makes for compelling storytelling, one might pause to consider the blend of historical facts with the appealing narrative of television drama. The draw of potentially uncovering hidden treasures often seems to push the narrative toward connections that may not be as clear-cut as presented, leaving much room for debate and further investigation. In their quest to discover more about Oak Island, Rick and Gary found two red gemstone brooches on Lot 21 in the same year. These brooches support old stories that the island may once have been a hiding place for a large cache of treasure. The team is excited about these finds and plans to have the jewels examined to learn more about their origins and whether they are related in any way. "This will be our first time underground in the money pit, so we better enjoy it," they remarked. They also carried out seismic scanning in the money pit area, hoping to find more hidden gems below the surface. As the day wound down, the team gathered for a presentation by Dr. Doug Simmons, a retired psychology professor fascinated by the history of the island. Dr. Simmons suggested a connection between the Vikings who reached North America in the 11th century and the Knights Templar during the Crusades. He hypothesized that the Vikings might have helped the Templars hide treasures on Oak Island. Rick, Marty, and the rest of the team listened as Dr. Simmons linked Viking explorers with future Knights Templar. They discussed this idea and the intriguing possibility that the Vikings influenced the Templars in Oak Island hunting. Dr. Simmons talked about Norse King Sigurd's journey to Jerusalem and his interactions with the early Templar. He speculated that Vikings in the Holy Land might have affected the Templars' actions and, by extension, the history of Oak Island. In the war room, Jack Begley and Alex Lagina showed interest in examining this idea further. Dr. Simmons supported his theory with evidence of Viking artifacts and structures found on the island, suggesting that these finds could relate to Templar activities. Meanwhile, Rick, Gary, and Billy explored the southern part of the swamp. Driven by Dr. Simmons's theories, they focused on wooden relics, some possibly from old ships, which could be hundreds of years old. Motivated by the possibility of proving a historical theory, they examined these pieces, hoping they might relate to the broader narrative of the island. As the excavation continued, they found more intriguing items, prompting discussions about their potential importance. Rick advocated for continued exploration to uncover more about the island's past. Billy, Gary, and Steve then discovered another part of what could be an ancient ship, adding to the artifacts they had found in the marsh. Steve suggested that a recently discovered piece of wood might be from the same time as a ship railing found in 2020, possibly supporting Dr. Simmons's theory of a Viking visit to Oak Island thousands of years ago. Despite the ongoing discoveries and theories, the true story of Oak Island remains unclear. The island continues to be a source of fascination, not just for what might be buried there but also for the stories and hypotheses it inspires. Each new find adds to the narrative, urging the team to keep looking and piecing together the history of the island. This ongoing search highlights the team's commitment to understanding the island's past, driven as much by their hopes and dreams as by the physical evidence they unearth. The quest for Oak Island's hidden secrets is as much about the journey and the excitement of discovery as it is about the historical truths they hope to uncover. Each member of the team brings their own perspective and expertise, contributing to a collective effort that spans beyond simple treasure hunting. As they dig deeper and uncover more, they are not only chasing possible treasures but also weaving a rich tapestry of historical speculation and genuine curiosity. It's very plausible, it's enticing, it's interesting. What it says is there are answers in that swamp and we are getting close, the team concluded with excitement more than treasure.